Alright, this tune I made up. Alright, let me start over. Alright, this here tune I made up on this cigar box guitar made by Jody Pope down the road. Some of my kin folks by marriage. Oh, I call this tune King Edward. Well, Nikki said, what brought that on, King Edward? What's that? Well, I told her it was a cigar because it was the first cigar that I ever smoked when I was a kid. Like I said about the chewing tobacco, you know, Dad always just let me go ahead and try all that and get it out of my system. And so up here at Scotty Val's store back in, they used to sell them King Edward cigars. They was green looking, pretty good size old cigar. Portis Eubanks, the town constable at the time, used to gnaw on them things. He kept a box of them in his car, and at all times. I remember one time, and he didn't never light them, he just gnawed on them. And I remember one time, I guess he eat them because they just get littler and littler. And didn't never see him spitting neither. So I guess he just ate them and swallowed that mess. Because I remember one time he was looking for where somebody lived out here, and he stopped. I was out in the yard messing around. I was a kid. And he stopped and asked where that so-and-so lived. And I told him I knew. He said, well, just get in and ride down there with me and show me where they live at, old Portis Eubanks. And so I got in there, and he had a box of them King Edwards sitting right there in the middle of the seat there, whole box. And he pulled him a fresh one out, and he took it out of the wrapper, popped it up there in his mouth. I just noticed he started just licking the hell out of that damn thing. I guess he liked them. Hell, they didn't taste that good. They wasn't sweet. They had them old big Swisher Sweets back then too that tasted pretty sweet. That King Edward really wasn't sweet. It was just old green looking cigar. But anyhow, I digress as usual. But before I digress back to the original story, I'll take another tangent. Speaking of Portis Eubanks, my daddy worked on the law force for a little while back in the 60s. And he said, and I believe him because my dad didn't really make up stories. He wasn't a big storytelling type guy. He said Portis, this town was a big time bootlegging and whiskey making town, Philadelphia, Mississippi. And a lot of the people on the law force was involved in all that. And, you know, Portis was one of them. And he's dead and gone now, so I can tell the story, and I ain't snitching him out, because, hell, how you gonna dead man get in trouble? That's one thing I don't do is tell on people. Even if I know they done something bad, I never did like a damn tattletale. In school, I hated them, and I ain't one of them, and I don't tell on people. So this story is about somebody that's dead and gone, and it don't matter no how. So anyhow, Portis was a bootlegger as well. And I don't know if he was on the law force then or not. I can't remember what Dad said. But Daddy was for a little while. He quit. And the reason my dad got off law force is because it was, around here it was very, and I know this is a controversial subject, and I ain't snitching out nobody's name or nothing, but there was a lot of Ku Klux Klan involvement, and Daddy didn't want to get mixed up in all that. So that's why he quit. He didn't get fired or none of that. He just bowed out. He never did join the Klan or none of that. And I ain't talking about nobody's relatives around here, because I got a lot of friends that's kin to a lot of people, and I ain't gonna say nothing about nobody. I'm just gonna leave it at that. But anyhow, old Portis, he bootlegged that liquor, moonshine. My daddy made moonshine back before he got on the law force. A whole lot of people did around here. And there's a lot of bootlegging, where that means people that sell it. They don't make it, they just transport it and sell it. So anyhow, Portis done that. And he had an old house out there. And I ain't gonna say what year it was, so nobody knows who the sheriff was, nobody knows who nobody was. And as far as I know, all them people's dead by now anyway. So I ain't telling on nobody, and it ain't nothing everybody around here probably don't already know anyhow. They said, old Portis, they'd call him and say, now Portis, we got to come out there and pretend to raid you place, so make sure he ain't got nothing over it. Well, he had him a thing rigged up in the bathtub. It was a false bathtub. He took the drain loose, run that pipe into a 55-gallon drum out in the woods. So he'd dump all his liquor in that bathtub. I don't know why they'd have to do that. I guess it might be some state cops would be coming in or something, and they'd have to go out there and play like they was going to raid him. And he'd pour it down that bathtub. It'd run out the drain into a 55-gallon drum in the woods. And after it was all said and done, he'd go out there and jug it back up. He'd be good to go. He didn't waste none of his liquor. So anyhow, that's a story about Portis Eubanks and about him licking that cigar. And I'll tell you something else about Portis Eubanks. I was over at Atkins barber shop when I was pretty young. I don't think I was even 20 years old then. I used to get my hair cut up at Benny Lee Atkins across from the hospital. And old Portis coming there, he was pretty old by then. He'd done retired from the law force. And he walked around real funny, like he was something bad wrong with him. And for years he didn't walk like that. I'll try to do a little impersonation of that so you can understand. It was kind of a shuffle. Let me move this chair out of the way. You'd see him up there at County Market, what they call Val's now. He'd come walking out across that parking lot. It'd take him 30 minutes to get from his car to the store. He'd walk like this. Just like that. Just barely shuffle his feet. And I thought something bad must have happened to him. You know, he had a bad stroke or something, you know. So, I figured he's in bad shape. I don't know if he's on disability or something. That's what I kind of figured when I seen this over at Benny Lee's. I know I'm ratting him out, but like I said, he's dead and gone. If I offend any of his kin folks, I'm sorry, because this is a true story, and I think it's funny. So, you just have to be mad at me. I ain't making none of this crap up. Now, whether he really done that with the bootlegging thing or not, I wasn't there. That could be a myth. That could have been something people just told. You know, that's just what Dad said he heard. He didn't say he seen it. He just, I don't know who he heard it from, but, you know, whatever. That could just be an old myth for all I know. But the shuffling the feet thing, I seen with my own eyes. I'd see him up there at County Market, shuffling them feet, taking 30 minutes to walk from his car to the store. And then when I was at Benny Lee's that time, yeah, Mom over there talking about it. I'm filming it. It's what I'm talking, that camera thing. But like I said, I was over at Benny Lee's getting that haircut. Well, Portis come in there, and they said, they was all laughing, talking, you know. He shuffled in real slow. Like they said, run, Portis. And he walked across that floor in that barber shop just as normal as any human being I ever seen in my life. Now, I seen that with my own eyes. So I don't know what the deal was. It looked like it was just a put on, all that old shuffling crap he was doing. I don't know if he was on disability. I don't know what the deal was. But damn sure did. I seen that. Maybe he just didn't feel like walking all the time, and he just walked every now and then when he wanted to. I don't know what the deal was. But it was funny to me at the time. I thought it was funny. But anyhow, you know, that's what this song on this cigar box I'm going to play is named after. King Edward is that cigar. And like the original story I was telling, you know, I seen Portis smoke them and shit when I was a kid. I wanted to smoke a cigar. I thought it was cool to smoke a cigar. So up there at Scotty Val's, they had them cigars in a styrofoam cup sitting on the counter. You could buy them for 10 cents a piece. Well, Dad, he always let me try everything. He bought me a whole wad of them, a whole handful. I guess he figured it'd break me like with the chewing tobacco, but it didn't. But he thought it'd break me. And he was right about trying to break me. I mean, I get what he was trying to do now, you know. So he bought me the handful of cigars. So I'm big shit now. I got King Edward cigar. I think I'm king shit. So I had a little old shed out there. I had a little dirt bike motorcycle. Well, it was an on-off road. It was a dirt bike, street bike combination. It basically was a dirt bike with a headlight and a tag on it and blinkers. But it was an old one. I don't know what year, early 80s maybe or late 70s, because it had a metal gas tank. It was called a Honda XL75, and I thought it was the baddest thing around when I was a kid. I rode that thing, and I'll tell you, I didn't know nothing about working on no carburetor, but it always run rich. And all I knew I'd figured out how to do, I was kickstart only. And I'd kick that damn thing. I couldn't get it to start. I finally figured out I could take a spark plug out, and it had gas all over, be black. And I'd just clean it. Sometimes I'd use sandpaper on it and put it back in, and it'd crank. Well, it was running rich as hell, but I didn't know that. I didn't know nothing about no carburetor. And I'd get so mad at that little motorcycle trying to crank it. I had dents all in the top of the gas tank where I had beat it with my fist. It looked like potholes in that thing, just all over the top of it. I'd get fighting mad. I'd start hitting it with my fist, having a fit. And I burnt my leg on that thing so many times because the muffler run up high by your leg. And I'd be a little old kid. I was probably about 9 or 10 when I had it. And I had shorts on all the time in the summer. I'd go around barefoot with shorts all the time. And that damn thing burned the hell out of your leg. And whenever I was in 7th grade, you could try out for the basketball team. Well, I liked basketball back then. I had a basketball goal. And how crazy I was. And Bo Hardy will remember this to this day. One time we was playing a game of basketball out there, and he wanted to quit, and I wanted to keep playing. And this is how crazy I was. I got so damn mad that I came in this house, and I had a SKS rifle. And I got that goddamn SKS rifle out and took it out there and cocked a damn shell into the chamber and said, now you gonna play the rest of this damn basketball game. And you can ask Bo Hardy, he'll tell you. That's how mad I got. I was an idiot when I was a kid, man. I thought I was badass because I'd been watching all that Rambo shit they come out with. I was trying to be a badass. I'm glad I didn't shoot him, and I don't think I would have shot him. I wasn't intending to shoot him. I just wanted to scare him and make him think I was going to do it so he'd finish the game. But that was pretty dangerous, waving that damn SKS around with it. As a kid, I thought, well, he's got to see you put the shell in the chamber. You know, that's what scares you, when you see you put that shell in that chamber. So I knew I had to do that. But it was bullshit. I wasn't really going to shoot him, but I just wanted to scare him. But it was dangerous as hell. But anyhow, back to them King Edward cigars. No, the reason I was mentioning that about the basketball and the motorcycle deals, because when I joined that basketball team, I thought that was going to be fun, you know, to play on the basketball team at school. Well, I was old enough, they had to try out for the team, so I got in there. And all we did is run back and forth on the damn basketball court. Back and forth, and shoot these damn layup things. And throw the ball to each other. Well, I mean, that's how you train, you know, but I was lazy. I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to play basketball. I didn't want to do all that exercise shit. I hated it. I said, man, I hate this damn basketball shit. So I'd burnt my leg on that motorcycle muffler. Had a big old blister on it, and I had some gauze wrapped around it or some shit. So I used that as an excuse. I said, I can't do the exercise, coach, because I burnt my leg on the motorcycle muffler, and I can't do it because it's got a bad blister on there. And I just kept sitting out. Well, he kicked me out off that team, and I was glad he did, because I didn't even like it no way. But I don't know, I guess I should have played basketball, but that's the only sport I was really interested in as a kid. I liked baseball a little bit, but I never did like try to play on no team or nothing, just out in the yard and crap. It was pretty fun. But I never did get into football. I was a real scrawny kid. I mean, I guess I could have been good at running and shit because I could run pretty fast. But I just never did get into it. I don't know why. But anyhow, back to the cigars. The title of this song, King Edward. You know, I went up there to Scotty Val's store. Daddy bought me that big wad of them King Edward cigars, about 7 or 8 of them. Oh, I thought I was big shit. I had that motorcycle shed out there, had my motorcycle in it. Me and my cousin Mac Holdens built the shed out of some crap Daddy got up at Warehouser, just scrap wood. We built that shed ourselves.
That's right, y'all did.
And it had a little side part like a garage where you put your motorcycle. And I thought I was big shit. That was my shed. I'd go out there at that shed, you know. That was my place. So I was sitting out there. I had them damn King Edward cigars. I laid them down in there. I lit one of them up, boy, I started going. I was puffing and puffing and puffing and smoking. I remember Portis chewing on it, licking on it, and I was gnawing and chewing and licking and puffing and puffing. I smoked that and down pretty good ways. Well, I lit me another one up. I started doing it. Boy, I was smoking it back to back, just puffing and chewing and licking, gnawing on the whole end of it.
He was just crazy.
The end of it looked like a dead rat or something when I got done with it. Just all gnawed up, a turd or something. Looked like a turd. What looked like a dog turd. I got finished gnawing on that. By the time I got halfway in that second one, I started feeling so damn dizzy and nauseated. Man, I couldn't stand it. Felt like the room was spinning. And that shed started feeling real stuffy. And I was like, I couldn't breathe good in there. It felt like it was just stuffy in there, you know. It was just a little old shed anyway, and I'm sure it was just full of smoke. Man, I felt like I was choking. I didn't start coughing or nothing, but I just nauseous. I got up, man, I had to get outside. I went out the door, man, I didn't make it same thing as chewing tobacco. Right there in the driveway, I squatted down out there in the driveway, and I was just sitting there squatted down on my knees, you know. And I could just dizzy and nauseated, and then I puked. That's how that happened. And it didn't break me, though. I kept trying to do it like an idiot. Now, kids, I ain't advising y'all to do none of this stupid junk. Learn from my mistakes. It's stupid. I don't smoke cigars no more. The only problem I got right now is dipping. I want to quit dipping. So, it's a bad habit. It's very addictive. Don't ever take it up. I'm serious, kids. If any kids is watching this, and you hear me say a cuss word or something, don't start doing that just because you hear me do that. That is the stupidest thing you can do. Look, kids, I'm an idiot. I made a lot of mistakes in my life, and I have to pay for all of that stuff. And you can learn from my mistakes. Don't try to be like me. You can be better than me. Anything you want to do, you can do it. If you try, put your mind to it, be determined. You can do anything you want to. Anything. If somebody else can do it, so can you. But don't waste your time on all that old smoking and dipping and doing alcohol and any kind of drugs and all that stuff. All it does is ruin your life and mess up your brain, and then you'll get in trouble with the cops. And you got to pay them. It ain't none of it worth it, man. Spend your time on something constructive. Make yourself a better person. Do healthy stuff. Don't eat unhealthy food. Don't waste your time on that crap, man. Be healthy. Work out in the yard. Learn how to do gardening. Learn how to survive. Learn survival skills. That's what matters. You know, can you survive or not? Are you a wimp or can you survive? If it come the apocalypse or some crap, you know, and if electricity all went off, nobody had no power, nobody had no more internet, if it come like the end of the world type Mad Max shit, could you survive? Or would you be one of them that be trying to make it off there somebody else? Learn how to do your own stuff. Work on your own stuff. Don't be a wimp. You know, and don't do drugs and don't do alcohol and don't do dipping and smoking and all that stupid junk. It's a waste of time. It does nothing positive. And like I said, you hear me say a cuss word, that's another bad habit that I got. Don't even get started doing it. It's stupid. It makes you look dumb. It offends other people. you know, and you get in the habit of it, and then it'll just pop out before you know it. It happened to me. I was over there at the arena a couple years ago, and they had a little music, and the preacher was standing over there, and I was playing some songs, and I made a mistake, and a cuss word just popped out of my mouth right in front of the preacher, and I felt so embarrassed. And that's like training. See, it's like training. You train to do something. It's like practicing your guitar. You practice to do it, so whenever you do it, it comes natural. It's the same jump with that cussing. You do it all the time out of a habit, and then when you're somewhere where it offends other people, it'll pop out of your mouth, second nature, and then you'll offend them, and you'll feel like an idiot. So I'm trying to get out of that habit, working on it. I go to a program called Alcoholics Anonymous, and it's not a solicited program. It's something you do because you want to do. So I'm not trying to get people to go to it. I'm not trying to talk you into going to it if you drink. You know, that's something you do because you want to do. But they talk about attraction rather than promotion, you know. And that's the idea, you know. And I lost my damn train of thought, kids. So anyhow, that means I've said enough, because I was thinking about this cigar box tune and all that. So I'm just going to play the doggone tune. And I told you the story about the cigar. I told you about me throwing up, and told you some funny stuff about old Portis Eubanks, because he was a character. And anybody that lived in Philadelphia, Mississippi back in the old days will know who I'm talking about. So anyhow, I'm going to play this tune. It's called King Edward. And the reason I named it is because it's on my cigar box guitar that my cousin over there, Jody Pope, made, and he did a fabulous job. He ain't making none right now because he's getting his house built. But he's going to get back into making these things, and it's a dang good one. I love it. You'll see on the tune, it sounds great. My mama bought it for me for Christmas from me when I was living in Nashville. And I love this thing. It's wonderful. So he's going to get back to making some, and I got some ideas that I want to get some custom stuff done. And we'll see more about that in the future. But there's grade A cigar box guitar made by Jody Pope, right down the road here. And I'm going to play this tune called King Edward. Thinking about old Portis Eubanks, thinking about me puking on that King Edward cigar.
Now that's for real.
Yeah, I ain't lying about it. All right, I had to make one correction on that video. I said Jody Pope was kin to me by marriage, but that ain't right because his mama was a Willis. So that ain't by marriage. He's just got that Pope last name, and that's the married part. His daddy's name.